welcome to this panel of Next Big Creator Summit 2022. I'm Natasha Puri. I lead content marketing for Pepper. And this session is going to be about the content creator's role in a new India. And we have a very interesting panel with us, and we'll keep it very informal, very casual. If you all have questions, feel free to put them in chat, and I can take them up during the session. um, One of the main reasons why creators and the creator economy is booming is that creators have become so accessible to their fans and their followers. And this session is going to talk a bit about that, about how creators can build that audience connect. And to talk about this, we have with us the founder of one such company called Hey Hey Global, Caleb Franklin. This company enables a personal connect between fans and celebrities. Other than Caleb, we also have Anisha Dixit with us, a YouTube content creator, very well known with 3 million followers on YouTube. We have the author Amish Tripathi, the best selling author Amish Tripathi. I don't think he needs an introduction. We've read all his books, we are fans of his book events as well. And I think we have a fabulous panel. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you for making the time today, and thank
Hi.
you for joining us.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you for having us.
Hi, Natasha.
Hello. Hello. Okay, so let's just get it rolling. Let's get started. I'll start with Caleb. Caleb, you're a Harvard alumnus with a passion for the entertainment industry and obviously for the creator economy. And I'd love to start with you. Why don't you share some learnings so far? You're deep within the creator economy. You're working so closely with creators, connecting them with their fans. So let's get started with your learnings.
Yeah,
Tell us, how has it been? How's your journey been so far?
I think the journey is increasingly exciting. If we think about what's happening in Asia and happening in India with creators, we've seen an exponential explosion, both in terms of the people who are creators to the fans who want to be close to them. In fact, I read a great stat: 83% of all social media users in the world come from Asia. So it's highly likely that we're going to see a humongous creation of jobs, wealth, and opportunity from the creator economy, and much of that will come from India. So we're super excited. And at our company, Hey Hey, what we're focused on is how do we create the tools, the products, and the experiences for creators to monetize this new opportunity. And so, we started with getting our creators to do things like shout outs, competitions, digital autographs, trying new things. We then, grew to figure out how we can get the fans to engage more. And now, which is very exciting, is that we're going to be thinking about NFTs in a really exciting way. So our learnings is this: there's more creators than ever. There's more fans than ever. And we're going to be there to help them monetize and grow into this new market.
Amazing. So my next question, I'm just going to set the stage for everyone. So my next question is for Amish, and I don't know how many people here actually know this, but I read somewhere that you were rejected 20 times before you decided to self-publish Immortals of Meluha. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
20 times?
I stopped counting at 20. There were actually more than 20 rejections. So look, I don't hold anything against the publishers who rejected it. It's because it was a business call for them. We're talking about 2009, 2010, right? And my first book was published in 2010. I finished it, Immortals of Meluha, in 2008. The subject I had chosen, it was on a religious subject. The publishers felt that the main market are the youth. They're not really interested in this subject. My books were long, 450, 500 pages on average. And it's, I don't know how it is in other industries, but sadly in the publishing industry, many of the publishers I found, some of the really old ones, tend to look down on their audience. No, they're youth. They don't have that big attention span. They can't read 500-page books. This was the feedback I received for rejecting it. Some of them said that write a campus romance novel because that's what will succeed. But I just went ahead and self-published, and ironically, and most of my readers are actually the youth.
Yeah.
So and it truly shows that how even people who've been in an industry for long can misread what the what the readers what their customers want. I mean, one of the publishers that actually told me your books have these gyan sessions every third chapter. It's to you have to dumb it down a bit if you want to make it mass. I'm like, that's hardly an approach one should take. Some very, very interesting feedback I got. No names, but I got some very interesting feedback at that time. But yes, I self-published finally.
So
And
yeah.
main learning. Do not underestimate the audience. Just try something new, and you never know what could succeed.
So yeah, so my question on that is, Amish, what do you think is that secret that helped you connect with your audience? That decision to self-publish, and then what do you think worked? Like, what is that connect that you made with the audience, and it just clicked?
Yeah, that I'm an artistic, strategic genius, and I could figure it out. No, that's bullshit, man. Look, the reality is, I didn't know it would
You
succeed.
are.
No,
Sorry.
I didn't know it would succeed. I'm telling you honestly, I didn't know it would succeed. Right? Uh, I was just so gobsmacked that I'd actually written an entire book. I was always a voracious reader. I was never creative, right? And most of my school friends, they still ask me, "Sach pata actually kisne likha hai?" I just wanted to just give it my best shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's cool. I genuinely tried it with that perspective, and that to me is the key learning in the creative space. Unlike most other industries, where there is a logical flow, you can project where it'll go. In the creative space, you really cannot project anything. So the key thing is, that famous Harvard fly experiment, right? Do you guys? Caleb knows, I guess. Okay, so
No idea.
bees are actually among the most intelligent insects around. They actually have a language. They communicate through dance with each other. They work in an organized group. Ants and flies, as you can imagine, are not particularly intelligent. They live just for a few weeks. They're born, they eat, they have sex, and they die. That's all that they do. Okay, flies. They do nothing
Short
else.
life.
Yeah. So they're not particularly sharp, right? Can't accuse them of being intelligent. So in Harvard, they did this experiment. They opened a bottle, like 2 glass bottles, wrapped it up with black paper, and there was, at the bottom of the glass where the glass is, they shone a light from there. Okay, and in one bottle they let in bees, another bottle they let in flies. The bees, being intelligent, went to the bottom of the glass of the bottle where the light was, because that's where the exit should be. And they kept trying repeatedly out there. It wasn't working. Obviously, it was the bottom of the glass. The flies also went to where the light was. It didn't work. Then they tried somewhere else. Then they tried somewhere else. Then they tried somewhere else. Within the flies were out. The bees, being intelligent, remained stuck at that bottom. They refuse to leave. So the key thing is, us creative people, intelligence is good. I'm a lover of IQ, reading, everything. But the key thing, we have to be like the flies. We have to trust our instincts and just experiment. Just try things. Just keep trying. We have to be like the flies. Because actually, in the creative space, you have no idea what will succeed. You just have to go with your instinct and try it out.
Absolutely.
Wow, amazing. What a fantastic beginning, right?
All applies, basically.
Who would have thought that's a compliment, Anisha? You're a fly.
Yes, I love it. Thanks, Amish, for letting me know.
But don't read The Lord of the Flies and follow that philosophy.
Okay,
That book would not be okay. Sorry.
done. Won't do that.
So yeah, Anisha, now over to you. I mean, talking about taking chances, you're one of the most relatable YouTube influencers out there. So in your journey to this 3 million number, right? How do you still stay grounded to what your audience really wants? What's your process?
See, it's very interesting, Natasha, because when I started about almost 10 years ago creating content, so I've been here for a very long time. So I've seen the evolvement of how people used to watch content 10 years ago versus how they watch it 5 years ago versus how they watch it today.
Mhm.
So, to be honest, what worked 10 years ago is not working today. I
Mhm.
think, as Amish was mentioning before, right, we have to be the flies and keep experimenting. There's new generations, new things they like to watch, right? Like back in the days, 10 years ago, even I didn't know as a content creator what would people like, right? So I experimented a lot. Then finally, I figured out comedy sketches my thing. Before, I used to go and interview people, like very random things I used to do, but very long content.
Mhm.
Then eventually, of course, you evolve with time, right? You see the attention span, as Amish was saying earlier, why his book was getting rejected. The attention span is getting shorter of people now, right? How I used to make 10-minute video content and it became 8 minute, 5 minutes. Now we're in a day and age where it's 15 seconds. All those short video platforms, that are coming up right now. So to stay relatable, you also have to move with time, right? It doesn't make sense if I now say like, no, I want to keep making 10-minute video content. If audience watches or not, it doesn't matter. I have to evolve, and I have to figure out now how the storytelling of 10 minutes will fit into 15 seconds now.
Yeah.
So for me, for us YouTube creators especially, who started out on YouTube versus people who are on Instagram who started there, um, it's a big challenge for us to understand how to create 10 minutes into 15 seconds and still put something relatable in it, still put something that people will understand, have a joke in there, then bring brands in on top of it, right? So honestly, I will feel the main key point is to just evolve and see what your audience wants, right? Us as creators, we listen to our audience, right? We ask them constantly what type of content you want to watch, what is relatable to you. So that is how we stay relatable with the audience and move with time. I hope that
Mhm.
answers your question.
Yeah, no, that helps. And like speaking of, listening to the audience, listening to your audience, when we talk about, audiences being so hungry to kind of you have more access to their favorite creators and influencers, do you think there is a law of diminishing returns here? Do you think there is a point where we're going to be, your influencers or creators are going to be overexposed? Do you think we're going to ever get to that point? And I'll start with Caleb on this because obviously you built a business around this. So, what do you think?
You know, uh, and funny enough, Amish and I have known each other for many years, and we've worked together for many years. Uh, before even moving to India, I'd worked as a talent agent at a large talent agency in LA called Creative Artist Agency, and we worked with people like Will Smith and Andre Agassi and uh, PC Priyanka. We always had this sort of rule, like
Mm-hmm.
you want to give as little access and as little exposure of
Mm,
yourself if you were to be a star. Uh,
yeah.
and this whole concept of overexposure was something that we were always worried about when we were advising our talent on like how to
Mm,
think about it. And I think if you look at where we are today, perfect example, someone like Will Smith. Will Smith refused to sign up to Instagram or Facebook. He was a movie star. You didn't do that. And
mm,
today he's one of the largest Instagram accounts that exist. And so,
mm,
what does that mean? I think, unfortunately, for people's private lives, I think there is no choice. You do have to be engaged. You do have to be exposed. The real question for me and the team at Hey Hey is how can we make that exposure a little bit more fun, a little bit
mm,
more interactive, and also for the talent, who are spending time doing it, how can they make money doing that? So
mm,
I think that's where we are going to see a big opportunity for both fans and talent is that gap kind of coming closer where it makes sense for celebrities and people like Amish and Anisha to spend more time with their fans and for fans to have more authentic ways to do that with them.
Amish, what do you think? Because I think in the world of publishing, traditionally, where we think of books and authors very differently, right? We've been brought up to think of authors as these people who, sit in on their island and are inaccessible. And, the
Who
more
wouldn't?
inaccessible they are, the bigger the genius in them is, right? So, and now everything's changing. I mean, I've been in publishing, I've been in marketing in publishing, so I've seen it firsthand. So I'd love to hear from you. What do you think is the new author in this new India?
I think perhaps the best way to answer this, sorry to inflict some Sanskrit on you, it is Ati Sarvatra Varjayit, that extremism of any kind should be avoided. It's one of our lines from our Upanishads, that extremism of any kind, avoid it.
Mm.
So I think, look, social media and, this complete over access to everyone is a relatively recent phenomenon, right? It's smartphones weren't so widespread when I launched my first book,
Yeah,
2010, which is not that long back, right?
yeah.
So how will this play out, with the audiences? I think it's still too early to say, but one thing that certainly appeals to me instinctively, that extremism of any kind where an author is not available at all. There are some authors who do that, right?
Mm.
That I think is not fair to their publisher. They must have the decency and the sense of duty
Mm.
to be available and promote the book, because the publisher is putting money behind it.
Mm.
But there's also that if everything about you is known, then does it become, overexposure? Does it
Mm.
lead to a sense of fatigue? Is that a risk? We may see that play out over time. So perhaps the best thing is to find a sense of balance where you are, engaged with your audience, but not so much that, that they start getting bored of you because they're seeing you everywhere. You
Mm.
find that happening with some Bollywood stars who are, overexposed in ads, overexposed in, then it stops having an impact. So I guess balance is perhaps the best approach. And then the challenge for artists is,
Mm.
depending on where they come from. Someone who's relatively private like I am, it's a challenge for me to. You'll notice outside of my book launch times, actually, I don't do much media. I don't go on TV panel discussions. I'm a relatively private guy. I like to have my own life. There are some who are on the other extreme, in Bollywood, for example. So maybe both of us will find some balance. Someone like me has to learn to be a little more social.
Mm.
People who are too social should take breaks, because actually it shows that your audience sees you with a fresh eye sometime later.
Mm.
That's
And
my instinct.
Anisha, what do you think as a child of the social media sort of generation? What
You
do you?
know, so the thing is, right, as Amish was saying, it's interesting, right? Because in social media, it kind of demands you to be more open and show more and more. And it's kind of a little tricky at times, especially as a content creator, of how much you want to put out there. Because as Caleb also mentioned before, that Will Smith is a movie star, right? And he's that image, but eventually, he came on social media and now is doing so much, right? Exposing his entire family, everything. There's so many other examples like that, right? That prove the point that the time is currently where the fans want to be as close as possible to the artist.
Mm.
The closer they come, the better they say it is as an artist, right? Because they don't see you as somebody who's not reachable. They want to see you as somebody who's reachable, who's like their friend, who's like, your next door neighbor. And that's the challenge with us artists, because for us it becomes challenging. What things do we show? Things do we not show? What do we talk about? So honestly, I've seen a lot of creators, and celebrities who do tend to just say everything, show everything without holding back anything, which in my perspective is a little, in the long run, little is a downfall, I think, because eventually everything has to be shared with the audience, right? They become a part of life of you. And so hence I feel there has to be a very, very fine balance. At least I do that, but I try to keep my private life a little separate versus my online presence. Of course, like for instance, I just got my wisdom tooth removed. So I also put that on social media out, right? Because of course the audience relates to me, they are with me every day. But I do think the current tendency is towards sharing more. Not saying I'm for it or against it, but whoever chooses to do whatever they feel like is best for them, they just have to know what the consequences is eventually. As Amish mentioned, I think a balance is the best thing one should be doing in this time, because overexposing, as he said, doing too much comes with its consequences, as I mentioned.
Mm. So let's talk about the past couple of years. It's just been everything is online, everything is hyper digital now. So how do you, and Anisha, why don't you start, with this answer? How do you maintain that connect with your audience as an online entity? And now that everything is completely driven by the internet, how do you bridge that gap when everything is virtual? Is that a challenge, or is it something that's just part of what you do?
You mean, just to ask you again, basically, how do I bridge how I'm
Gap
online
between
versus
you and the
offline?
audience. How do you maintain that connect with your audience? Primarily only being online, right? Nothing is offline anymore.
So honestly, there are Instagram, there are stories, right? The easiest way for us creators is to share stories, right? On Instagram that disappear within 24 hours. But I constantly, like, there is almost not one single day where I don't share anything, what's happening in my life. As I mentioned before, right? I got my wisdom tooth removed. So I, shared that with the audience because they relate too, right? People go to the dentist, they are scared, so that way you already create the connect with the audience and with your followers, that whatever I'm going through, they also might be going through. So I share a lot of stories, go live, almost every day. As a content creator, it is mandatory for you to do that, because it's not just, they say it's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. So that way, for me, I'm constantly in touch with my audience, either on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok is no more here now. But other than that, all other platforms, there's always something or the other that goes out every day. That's how I stay in touch with them.
What about you, Amish? We spoke a little bit about your book launches. So now in this pandemic, post-pandemic world, how are your interactions going? How is this shift to virtual online treating you? How are you maintaining that connect with your audience?
Yeah, so I have to admit, because I have so much respect for Anisha and other content creators, because they have that ability to generate something every day. And I have to be honest, I don't. And it puts a lot of pressure. It takes a lot of creativity to be able to come up with something, on a daily basis, something which will connect, right? Uh, so for me, doing just online stuff, yes, honestly, is a challenge at times. I don't have the ability to come up with something every day. So there is a team which manages, but I'm not so sure my social media accounts are the most exciting.
No, I like them a lot. I like them.
They're fun.
but the I think the key thing that will emerge for authors like me is a mix of it'll end up being hybrid, right? I haven't had a mainstream book launch in the pandemic. I did launch one of my books, Suhail Dev, but that was part of the Writers Center and Dharma non-fiction book. But like a book written only by me, it'll come only this year now. Now that the pandemic is over, it'll come hopefully by June, July. Uh, so I think book launches will be, my earlier book launches, we used to have these big things at crossword stores. There'd be, large number of people line outside. We'd have, bands drumming, and it's like a full. It's not like a typical boring wine and cheese book launch event. It's fun. Because like I said, most of my readers are the youth. There's that energy that comes with the youth. We'd run a drum circle for one of my book launches. And we had drummers, hidden all over the audience. And at the end, I came and I started drumming, and then we launched the book. It was great fun,
That's fun.
with people chanting Sita Mata Ki Jai, and we were drumming, and it was great fun. Uh, Now, imagine if we can do things like this and add in an online pizzazz to it as well, right? It's being broadcast live. It's across platforms across the world. That makes it that much more engaging. So for someone like me, I guess it'll be more hybrid that I look at. but it will be largely around my books. I find it very difficult to generate something every day, and honestly, my life is not that exciting. If I start sharing daily stuff about my life, I will lose all my readers.
Why don't you try it once, Amish?
For the flies, for the sake of the experimenting
Yes,
flies.
correct.
I've been to one of those book launch. I've been to two of your book launches, Amish. They're just full on parties, and I agree. Like, there's going to be a world where we're going to be on a metaverse experience, and we'll be in the digital world, and we'll have the ability to do that. And you know what I mean. I think that's what's coming.
Imagine if tech can allow that that people could join in and in a metaverse, in a virtual way, not just from a screen, from bookstores across the country, indeed across the world, right? And people could participate together, engage together, do stories together. That essentially the way. What's occurring to me more and more is that, especially many of the youngsters, it's about the experience. It's about a shared experience. That's what gives that excitement, right? And in my books there are always a lot of hidden messages. The covers, there are Facebook groups dedicated to analyzing my covers and messages. I put in out there. Imagine if we are discussing all this in stores. That will be fun, right?
Yeah.
And there's someone actually who's I guess an aspiring author who's actually asked, what if you're a great writer but can't promote through videos or reels? I think, Amish, you have to say something to Amrita. She
Okay,
needs
Amrita, thank you for the very honest feedback. I completely agree with you. And yes, I am utterly useless when it comes to social media. Next time I come to India, please contact me and give me some advice, man. Give me some training. I am not good. I got to be honest. I am not good at this. I need help. But at least I can write books well, hopefully.
So, Caleb, let's go back to a bit about Hey Hey, right? So, giving shout out, these are makes for brilliant gifts essentially for fans when they get an accessible shout out from their influencer or favorite celeb. Uh, how does it help the creator grow their brand other than the monetizing part? So how does it help them with their brand?
Well, the truth of it is, when we talk monetization, we talk business all the time. It's really about love, right? When you, as a creator, as a celebrity, can help someone wish their mom happy birthday, break up with their girlfriend, do whatever. I mean, we get some of the craziest requests on the platform. It's actually an authentic connection. And we spoke to a number of people. And by the way, both Amish and Anisha are on the platform. Amish, by the way, interestingly, every shout out he does goes to charity. So he's one of our special people that we love. But, people love that authentic connection. And when the celebrity gets to do that, there's nothing more special than that. So yeah, we talk about money all the time, but it's really about love. And I think that that's why most of the creators on our platform do it.
Wow, it's all about love. It's like a Karan Johar film.
Yay.
All about loving your fans. Anisha, that's your next skit.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 100%. Thanks, Caleb, for that.
So I'll take some questions from the audience. I think there's some interesting ones coming in. What is a writer's role in content creation on social media? Just with their words of poetry or stories, without videos or audios. Anisha, why don't you try this? This
Okay.
one out?
So, what is a writer's role in content creation? So, honestly, writing is everything. I mean, I come from the long form content. So, I come from YouTube videos, 10 minutes. So, and comedy sketch on top. If the writer is the key, if you're writing, if your sketch, if whatever else, poetry, whatever you're writing, if that's not, the best you can deliver, then nothing else matters, right? You can create a great video, but if the writing is not good, then of course it will be good still, but it won't be that. So I definitely believe writing is the most important thing in anything that we do, and then comes videos and everything else. So even when we write jokes and stuff, right, there is no point if you write something and people see the joke coming, right? You want to do it in such a way that people will laugh suddenly, like, oh my god, where did this come from, right? So it comes with great writing and spending a lot of time on the script. I will tell you, when we make videos, especially for YouTube, we spend most of our time in writing first, right? Especially when we work with brands, right? It becomes very difficult because brands, they want to put out their messaging, buy this product and this and that, and we were like, no, but we want to spend a lot of time in how it is delivered, right? We can't be just blankly say, oh hey, go and buy this product, right? We want to spend time in how the scripting is done, so that it still is something that is sellable, but yet is still fun and interesting to watch. So writing is key in video creation for sure. And in 15 seconds it becomes more challenging, because how will you, again, as I mentioned earlier, put 10 minutes into 15 seconds? But even there, it's key. I think in 15 seconds, it's more like how do you show something, versus in long form, it's what do you write first. That's what my perspective is in this.
So I have a question for Caleb. What is the most exciting hey hey moment? Where the most, like you just mentioned a breakup, right? So what? Give us a story. Give us a nice juicy story.
We've done over 5,000 of these wonderful moments. I mean, my favorite was a girlfriend who wanted her boyfriend to cut his hair, and I forget who she got to do it. I think Prim Chopra or someone like that. But it was just great. And then the next day, the celebrity wanted to see the haircut, and then they actually sent the video
nice.
of him.
That's fun.
That was a lot of fun. I mean, we also get the request where it's just like, I just want you to know I love you, and that's it. Like, just send me a video telling me you acknowledge that I love you. And so, we get all sorts of crazy things, but the haircut, that was the best.
Nice. That's cute. Amish, we have a fan question here. When is the next book coming up?
It's ready. It's being edited right now, and it should be out by June, July. There's a bit of an issue. My publisher, Amazon used to own them, and sadly it has been shut down now. So I'm negotiating a new deal with few other publishers. That may delay it a bit, but it'll be out by June, July, hopefully.
Great. So
War of Lanka.
War
That's what
of
it's called.
Lanka.
Super
War of
exciting.
Lanka. That's what it's called. It's a good one, even if I say so myself.
Is this the first time you're mentioning the name of the book? Because that's amazing.
First time on video, perhaps. I may have put it on
Uh-oh.
social media, but perhaps first time.
It's out. Too
But
late.
I have put it on social media.
You heard it here, folks. Amazing. So, of course, more writing advice required. When writing a book, should we focus on long sentences with clear meaning, or short sentences that need knowledge to digest?
This for me, or
I think
Yeah.
you, yes.
I think
Yes,
it might be
100%.
it depends on what your writing style is, man. So, like the gods among Indian writers are essentially Valmiki ji and Vedvyas ji, right? The ones who wrote the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. And Valmiki's prose was always very flowery, and you could get lost in those words. And his descriptions are so beautiful that they were almost grafted onto Sanskrit poetry. So you'll find Meghdut, which was written by Kalidas, I don't know, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 years after Valmiki ji wrote it, and he still describes almost the same description of the rain as how Valmiki ji used, to describe Lord Ram waiting for the rain to get over. So that was flowery, beautiful prose. Whereas Vedvyas is Mahabharat is like very crisp, very. It's like it's to the point and get the thought across, right? It depends.
Oh. And he's back.
Oh, he's back.
Yes.
style works for you, man.
Hmm. There's really one really nice one. Do you picture your books as movies while writing them?
It's, I know it sounds really bizarre, but I actually can see. I don't kind of they don't come to me as words. I'm like a fly on the wall, and I can actually see what's happening, and I describe what I see. Uh, so
Wow.
it's much more real than a movie for me, because I can kind of feel the emotions. I can hear their thoughts, which is why I love writing so much, because it's like there's this parallel universe which only I have the honor of entering. Uh, so it's far more real than a movie for me. I just describe what I see.
Amazing. Okay, I think those a lot of questions around writing advice, and some of them are repetitive, so I'm just going to leave that. But I think we should just kind of any closing remarks, Caleb. You want to talk about something
Well,
about the audience connection? Let's do closing remarks
well,
and then
yeah, I want to jump in, and I think both Anisha and Amish, really talked about it already. When we talk about sort of the creator's role in the new India, writing is so important, right? Like, just being on this call and understanding and hearing everyone. I guess my messaging is to really, really value writing. It was really sad to see what happened with Amazon and Westland Books, the major publisher. And when that happens, it's just another avenue that writers don't have to put their stuff out there. So, my message to everyone on this chat, videos and hey or not, but start with that creative spirit of writing, because it all comes from there. And then my last thought is, Amish, we need to see your books on the big screen, and I'm a big fan of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anisha, what about you? Any last words?
Last, I'd never like last words, but um, I think since it's about the new Indian content creation, most of the questions I always get asked that, and I think somebody even asked, what's the right age to start? A lot of people who want to get into content creation, they always are very hesitant. So anybody who's watching, I'd just like to tell you, don't wait. Yes, writing is important 100%, but my thing for content creation is just go and do it. Start. If you always have this fear about failing and you don't know, you don't have this equipment, you don't have the writing skills, you don't have that. This is about, I'm talking about just online digital creation right now. I will just say, just go and do it. And then once you do it, experiences also teach you, how to what works for you, what doesn't work for you. You'll hear your audience, even if you have 5 people telling you, right? Even having only 5 followers, even hear them, listen to them, and grow and learn instead of just waiting and holding back or waiting for the right time. That's just what my advice is to anybody who's listening. And always be passionate and follow your heart. I know it sounds a little cheesy, but I think that also helps you get over your fear. That's what I feel.
Those are some great last words, considering you don't like last words.
I don't know. I don't know. I just try to.
That is the talent of a content creator who does her work
Exactly.
daily.
Yeah.
She practices
Exactly.
daily.
This every day in front of the mirror. I practice this before going to sleep. My last words.
Yes, Amish, final words from you.
Yes, you are the one now with the last word.
I think what I'd say, there's this Chinese saying called "May you be born in exciting times," and it's often actually given as a curse at times, because exciting times means massive changes, massive uthal puthal, right? And if you think about it, that's actually what is happening in the world right now, right? This is uh, so many changes are happening. An old order that has been around for many decades is at risk. India is rising and rising very fast. It's an exciting, interesting time. This is the time when people actually want to hear different thoughts, because many of the old rules don't apply anymore, right?
Mhm.
They need things to explain what is going on. So this is actually in a way, a perfect time for writers. So if you have a fresh thought, if you have a fresh take, put it out there. Don't hold yourself back, because frankly, you have no idea what will succeed or not, right? Short content works, so does long form. I mean, Joe Rogan does 2 hour, 2.5 hour interviews, and they're hugely successful. So, one of the things that strikes me in today's day, there really is no rule, right? If there is value in that content, it'll succeed. Because this is that kind of era where there's so much change happening, when things are so unpredictable. There's a need to hear fresh thoughts at this point of time. So if you have fresh thoughts, just put it out there. And don't care about whether it'll succeed or not. Leave that to the market. Just put it out there.
Inspiring words by a very inspiring panel. What a pleasure it has been personally, speaking to all of you, and I can see that our attendees are also going crazy. A lot of thank yous, very inspiring. And on that note, thank you guys. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for sharing such great advice. Genuinely mean it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you for having us.
Yes. Bye bye.
Guys,
Bye.
bye.